Well, hello and welcome back. My name is MaryAnn Walker, and I'm the life coach that helps highly sensitive people learn how to set boundaries, take up space, and just experience more joy in their day to day life. And because of that, I am so excited to introduce to you today Natalie King. Natalie King is a British transformational coach, speaker, and podcast host that is dedicated to helping women embrace their authenticity and step more fully into their one precious life. And in fact, that is the title of her podcast, One Precious Life. I've thoroughly enjoyed both her podcast and her social media, so come and check her out. But today we're talking about how to experience more joy, especially when life is hard, especially when so much is going on in the world. It was very interesting as she and I were chatting. She shared that allowing yourself to experience more joy is actually one of the top 5 regrets of the dying. So I know that this is a very important topic to be discussing right now. It's especially timely with it being around the holidays and Thanksgiving here in the States. So I just am so grateful for Natalie for this conversation, and I hope that you enjoy. I am so excited for this conversation today, Natalie. Thank you so much for agreeing to collaborate with me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And thank you for agreeing too, because all day today I've known that this is in my diary and it was like a highlight. So I've been really looking forward to this conversation about joy. I think we're going to inspire each other and inspire our audiences too.
I think so too. Yeah. And I thought a really fun place to start would be just kind of exploring when is the last time that you experienced joy and what was that like for you? So, yeah, go ahead and share, will ya?
I think that's a lovely place to start. And I can literally signpost a moment of joy this morning. I try and get out in nature every day. Nature's one of my kind of environments where I remember to wake up and just
Mhm.
be immersed in the sensory experience of it. And we were walking my dog Bella, and it's near Remembrance Sunday. So certainly in the UK, as we go around wearing our poppies, and we have a little poppy for Bella, and she's like running around, all playful, and she just looked very smart with her poppy. And I don't know, there was something about the playfulness of it, and it's a lovely autumnal day. The colours are lovely, our full. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, and it's just, yeah, it really filled me with a moment of just joy. Yeah. What about you?
I love that. Yep, I'm the same way. I just find so much joy in animals and in nature. And as I was thinking about the last time I experienced joy, I was just taking out the trash this morning and it just was unseasonably warm and the colors are so bright. My backyard is completely covered in yellow maple leaves and it just felt so good. I was planning on, in preparation for this, spending some time indoors and meditating. And I was like, no, I'm going to do a walking meditation because it's just so glorious outside. So I love that we both kind of find joy in the nature element.
Oh, and then it kind of leads into our first thing that we said we were going to like really lean into is the noticing of the joy, catching
Yeah.
joy when we experiencing it, but also intentionally making a conscious choice that's important in our life. Because I don't think I always caught the joy as readily as I do now. And I'm still a work in progress, as we all are.
Mhm.
But when we have more of a, I guess, a knowing that it's not indulgent, knowing
Mhm.
that it's a crucial part of life for our well-being.
Yeah. Yeah, I love how you refer to it as catching joy, where it's like, "Oh, I got some. Oh, this is so beautiful," right? And it's like catching butterflies. Like you're going out with the intention and you're just so excited to see what you're going to get. And I love that idea. And the intention behind it. And I think this is an especially crucial conversation to be having right now. Because as I've been coaching with people and talking with people, just this morning I saw somebody's Facebook post where they said, I feel almost ashamed to share how beautiful of an experience I had on my hike this morning because I know that so many are having a hard time. I'm feeling guilty for experiencing joy. And I think so often we tend to minimize it, even in little ways. Like somebody gives you a compliment, like, oh, I love your haircut. Well, I had to get it cut like this because they really messed it up the last time. Instead of just saying, thank you. That means so much to me. But finding those little ways to really allow yourself to fully embrace joy, I think can have such a significant impact.
Yes, and I think what you speak to is this is really recognizing catching ourselves if we start to diminish our sharing of our joy and our light, because we might thinking, well, it will make someone else uncomfortable. But
Mm-hmm.
actually, the highest service we can do is to shine and demonstrate that joy. Because if we share how we've experienced it, or just to be in that aura,
Mm-hmm.
then it has a ripple effect. It is permission giving for other people. And yes, there is heaviness,
Mm-hmm.
but we can also change the radio station, and in the simplest things, see that there's also always moments to see the beauty in it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we can get in habits of minimizing the value of that joy, or experiencing it and then
Mm-hmm.
somehow thinking we ought to be using our time more wisely. We have this productivity bias. And I've done it myself. I've been in a moment of like, just enjoying sitting with a book or something. And then all of a sudden, I think I need to be doing something more important, whatever
Mm-hmm.
important might be. So sometimes it's almost like our nervous system. We have to train it to be more familiar in the okayness of the joy, because society or habits might pull us in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I was so excited to collaborate on this specific subject with you. Because as I've watched your feed, so you did a reel recently where you were playing in the leaves and taking pictures, and I found myself grinning from ear to ear. And I did not realize how much I needed to see joy and playfulness and levity until I noticed my own reaction to that. And so I love how you're talking about, no, like we're doing the world a disservice if we're muting that, because people are attracted to that. People need that. It's what makes it more sustainable for our nervous system, is injecting these moments of joy, right? It's like inoculating ourselves against all of the hard things that we're seeing in life, when we can just be like, okay, how am I going to get my daily dose? And where might I go for that?
Yes. Like really building it into an important factor of your thriving and your
Mm-hmm.
success. I
Mm-hmm.
love that you spotted that reel, and it really was a joyful day. It was a
Mm-hmm.
photo shoot I had, and there was like, all these leaves, and it was playful. And there's something we forget. We we forget to be playful. I forget to be playful because life can feel very serious. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, there are challenges, and I'm not dismissing, devaluing any of the challenge and the heaviness that
Mm-hmm.
people might be experiencing in the collective experience right now. And it's like the small things. It's like, what, coming back to the small things we were saying, there's the scope to find it in the small, accessible things. And like, just like you said, how that impacted you and made you question and just think, I need some of that. And I hope that this conversation will inspire people to also get some of that for themselves and also recognize its importance.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And I think it all starts with just allowing ourselves to experience it, giving ourselves that permission. I think too often we think, no, it's too childish to crunch the leaves, or no, that would be silly to go and do that, or to go be playful with my pet in the park. And what are people going to think if I'm being silly? We suppress so much of it. But if we just allow ourselves to enjoy. It was interesting. I was talking with my daughter who recently went to a big Halloween party, and it was interesting for her to compare and contrast that she just decided to show up and have a good time and to not worry about what people would think if she got in the middle of the dance floor and started busting a move. And it was interesting for her to notice that, oh, and those people over there, they're just sitting there. And she recognized that, oh, I'm so grateful that I'm here in this moment, that I'm not worried about that I'm giving myself permission to enjoy myself. And it was just such an interesting visual contrast there. And you had actually told me something when we first started talking about collaborating that I'm hoping that you'll share. But you had talked about the regrets of the dying. Will you share a little bit about that?
Yes. So, someone amazing called Bonnie Ware, she was Australian, is an Australian writer, author, but she spent quite a bit of time with people in a
Mhm.
hospice in their end of life care. And during this time, she did numerous hundreds of interviews with patients in their final days, and it was just conversations over a cuppa to sort of explore all the things about their life and what they were proud of, but also specifically regrets. And a huge piece of research was done off the back of this, and it's culminated in a book called The Five Regrets of the Dying. But number 5 on that list was that I wish I'd let myself be happier.
Hmm.
Number 1
Oh.
was I wish I'd been more true to myself. I mean,
Mm.
we could spend an if we can I mean, I'm getting ideas about doing a whole series on on all the 5,
Yeah.
but there's something around this. I wish I'd let myself be happier, and
Hmm.
it speaks to this permission giving that you have just mentioned, giving ourselves permission, just like your daughter was, dance like no one was watching, just for
Hmm.
her enjoyment, and not snap herself off from that joy. And oh, you must be so proud of your
I
lovely
am proud.
daughter at a young age choosing when there's so much pressure of
Yeah.
how to be seen, and to sort of to notice the choices available, because this is about
Hmm.
choice, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And choosing into it, making it an intentional choice that how is it that I want to show up today? I had heard something recently where somebody was talking about the difference between a mood and a temperament. And they said that a temperament is simply a mood that you've chosen to practice enough that it becomes a part of you. Isn't that beautiful? Especially as it applies to joy.
Yes.
That you can choose into joy. And once you do it enough times, it becomes a part of who you are and how you show up in the world.
Oh, I love that. I love that, because we are what we repeatedly do. We're not predisposed, I don't believe, to any one way of being, but we will be how we continually show up in our being. And whatever habits we daily do or do not do, we will
Hmm.
create like grooves in our neural pathways of some things that feel easier and some things that feel less easy. And the things that have been hard worn over time will just feel super familiar, even if they don't necessarily deliver the most joy. And so there really is something about what you're saying is the intention and the practicing, and knowing that the more we do something, the more we can craft that groove, I suppose, and make it part of our temperament.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not so much, I think sometimes we shame joy because we have this, you know, this or that mentality. And we think, well, I can't be joyful because there's hard things happening. But to step into, no, this and this, that I can experience so much joy going and walking through the leaves and enjoying all of the beautiful colors. And there can still be hard things in the world. It doesn't mean that those things are diminished. It's no, I'm going to fully embrace all of it. I'm not going to shame my joy because there's hard things happening. I'm going to choose intentionally to practice finding those joyful moments, even when it's hard, because I know that that's what's going to help me to have that resilience through the hard times as well.
Yes. And this piece around levity within that, it's really healthy for us. Laughter, it's proven scientifically, is really
Hmm.
good for us. Not to mention a whole other, things. And I'm sure as we go on, we'll kind of add to our list. I think that's just like so powerful to remember.
Well, and I think that what you just said about just even letting yourself laugh, it leads into the second point that we wanted to discuss about creating that joy every day, and that it doesn't have to, we don't have to wait for a big grand experience, but we can find it in those little moments. Like just maybe part of your practices that you do want to have, like a laughing meditation where I'm just going to laugh for 10 minutes and just see how it changes my body.
I mean, just you even saying that's funny.
Right? Like, what's going on with her?
I know. But yes, it's contagious, that
Mhm,
giggling, isn't it? And yeah, it's really good for our nervous system, like whether it's laughter or not. I mean, there is research about how many times a day little children laugh, and it's kind of
mhm,
hundreds. And then they do the
mm,
comparative research with adults, and sadly, someone's not laughing even once in a day.
mhm.
But it's so important for our nervous system. So, yeah, whether it's laughter, but it's these everyday things. I
Yeah.
love dancing, and I've started dancing more. I know that it's important for me. Part of the things that I'm really seeing as important for me this year is just coming into my body more, moving more, listening to the wisdom of my body, and my body likes to dance. And I think because I wasn't going anywhere to dance, I forgot to do it.
Mm,
And then I don't know why I just wasn't dancing around my house or just dancing because of it. So, back to creating intentional practices to make it a habit, to recognize I don't need an occasion to dance. I just can take a dance break. I've been doing that, and I've found it so helpful, MaryAnn. It's just such a shift of that attitude in a moment. And so literally, I mean, this won't suit everyone, but at the end of my day, I put my headphones in and I just dance around the bedroom for a couple of tunes, normally something quite uplifting. And in my
mhm.
mind, I'm going through I'm recognizing and celebrating myself for the acknowledging the day, because very often it
Yeah.
gets forgotten because I go to bed and on to the next. But there's a moment of just dancing in my body and recognizing even the small things, like just making dinner, or
Mhm.
taking a break with a coffee, or having a conversation with a friend, or finishing something at work that I'd been procrastinating. And it's just this moment of recognition in my body dancing, and it's joyous. And in that moment I shift. And just to let you know, it's not just an end of day thing. There was the other day, I'd come back from holiday, and I don't know, sometimes after holiday you just think, "Oh, I've got all this stuff to do." And I looked
Mhm.
at my diary for the week ahead, and it looked overwhelming. It really wasn't as overwhelming. It's this week we're in now. It's not overwhelming. But sometimes your perspective just reads overwhelm, even if
Mhm.
it's not true. And I'd kind of got myself in a place, and I didn't notice it as quick as I would have liked, but eventually I noticed, hang on a minute, I need to move. And I literally got myself up, put my earphones in, just did my dancing, and I felt completely different. And what felt overwhelming before seemed manageable. And nothing had changed with my diary. But the dancing and this embodiment and the seeking out a moment of joy and levity just changed the entire experience.
Yeah, absolutely. It has me thinking about, that emotion is energy in motion. And so whether you're trying to process a hard emotion or invite in a positive emotion, or did I say that right? Process a negative emotion or invite in a positive emotion, then just being mindful about how do I want to do that in my body. And I love that you dance. And I'm thinking how much just turning on some music and dancing while you're doing the mundane can make it so much more joyful, be it making a bed or cooking or sweeping. And I confess that before this call, then also enjoy dancing, but before this, then I was jumping on my mini trampoline and getting myself hyped up. And it's so amazing how just those little things. I mean, I was only on there for a couple of minutes, but it helps to shift the energy. And when you talked about all of the things in your diary on your to do list of what you need to do, it's so interesting because I've noticed that for myself too, that when I'm experiencing overwhelm, if I can just take some time to get out into nature, to jump, to dance, to sing, to play the ukulele, to do something, it's so interesting how much that changes how I view my list. Where my list can go from being so overwhelming to, look, I only have 3 things I have to do today. But that the list hasn't changed, but my weight and my mental energy around it has.
It's like magic.
Mhm.
And there is a little miracle, just that, the miracle of perspective.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to take a long this joy, this levity, the getting in our body, whatever the route may be. And it's different for everyone. We're all different. But
Mhm.
it doesn't have to be a holiday or a complete escape from life. It can just be a moment of presence.
Yeah. So, just for fun, I'm really curious. If you had to pick three things, you've already talked about dancing, so it's okay if you want to include that, but what three things do you find you can really rely on and turn to in your day to day life that really help you to shift that energy into that joy?
So, I have to include nature, and I know I
Yeah.
referred to it before, but there's something that just helps me move into an awareness of more than myself. So there's moments of awe of listening, to birds, or so
Hmm.
there's being out in nature. There's the dancing. I do also just love to sit and read. Just sit with a book, to just have a relationship either with a fiction and non-fiction. Something very
Hmm.
often it's something inspiring,
Yeah.
and good coffee.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really those little things, right? It's just so wonderful to just even take the time to just think on what does bring me joy and then let yourself thoroughly enjoy it, right? Because it's going to be a very different experience, like with your cup of coffee, if you're just drinking it quick to just get on with your day versus this is my joyful moment and I'm going to really give myself permission to enjoy it. Even that can create such a shift.
Yes. And, yes, of course I could say big holidays and spa days, and yes to all of that, and bubble baths.
Hmm.
But my go-tos were actually the smaller things. What about you?
Yeah, very similar to you. I think that we're very similar. It's probably why we're doing this together because we just resonate. But yeah, for me, it's that I know that I need to take some time to even just to sit and to breathe. I enjoy being in nature, setting a cozy fire. Yeah, like you said, even delicious food can be fun, or intentionally starting a conversation with a friend. Like, oh, who can I talk to today? I've noticed that there's some people where I just want to talk to them because I just feel so much better once the conversation is done. We just resonate. And so it is kind of amazing to just think about those little things, make a list, your go to list. So then when you are having a hard time, reminding yourself that, yes, that. And this, look at my list of all of these amazing things that I could participate in. Sometimes it's interesting too for me to even think, okay, well, I could take a 30-minute walk in nature, or I just turn on, like you had talked about, I'm going to listen to one of my favorite songs on my playlist and dance for just one song. It's not going to take a lot out of my day. I could do it on my lunch break. But that those little things can have such a significant impact is just really it's inspiring for me to just really think that, wow, I cannot believe that that 5-minute song had such a big shift on how it is that I'm showing up and how I'm feeling.
Yeah, and it can feel like magic, just because it's like, oh my God, I was like this, and now I'm like, the whole experience has
Hmm.
shifted. And I have in my mind, I used to have it written down, but now I kind of, after practicing it for, it's very clear, my things on my love list. I call it my love list. But yeah, if anyone listening has not yet got their own love list, it really merits just spending a bit of time leaning in to the things that you can access in your day to help bring you joy, and interdisperse intentionally and deliberately more moments to allow this to be part of your day. And if we really lean into a question like, what does a successful life feel like to you, a meaningful life feel like to you, when we're not talking about the numbers, or
Yeah.
linear, or anything like that, if we're talking about the language of the heart, well, joy's going to be in there.
Hmm.
And let's not leave it too late to unlock that vital part of what it is to be human, and connect to that as our birthright.
Yeah. I think it's beautiful that you call it your love list because it is an act of self love to allow yourself to experience that joy, to even just pick one thing off of your love list, even if you're only able to do one thing in a day, to pick one thing and see if it makes a difference for you. See if it impacts your mood, and then notice how practicing that can impact how it is that you show up generally in the world. But it starts with identifying those things for yourself, and identifying, I think also it's helpful to notice in the body. That wow, how does this feel? Ooh, this feels pretty good. I'm gonna let myself feel this a little bit more. This feels so amazing. But becoming more familiar with the emotion of joy, making it your friend, somebody that's familiar to you.
Yes, and, just to add to that, if it's not something you're regularly leaning into, almost anticipate that the
Mm,
unfamiliar your nervous system might wanna get you out of there, because we need to let our bodies, our nervous systems know that it's safe. It's safe to
mhm,
participate in this. It's actually a great thing and good for me. But if we're not in the habit, or if we have like a productivity bias and we think, "Oh, no, I haven't got time for that," we can kind of dismiss and knock it off the list. So yeah, even if it feels a little bit blissful but also uncomfortable, like, stay with it. It's all good. It's all in the service of your highest.
yeah, I'm so grateful that you pointed that out because it can be a little uncomfortable in the beginning, especially if it's something that you haven't practiced. If it's unfamiliar to you, like dancing like nobody's watching, it's going to feel uncomfortable. And then you might notice that as you practice it, other people will be inspired. Other people will want to come and join you on the dance floor. It is a little uncomfortable when it isn't something that you practice, but being willing to be a little bit uncomfortable as you work to cultivate that, because you're right, it is this and that. Even as you're cultivating joy, it's gonna be a little uncomfortable, and it's worth it to me to practice that joy. So I'm so glad that you brought that up.
Yes. Oh, and it's that "and" again, isn't it? It's all things, it's all good.
Mhm.
Um, oh, I'm just, like, loving all these things. And I just wanted to also catch something that came to mind about, this piece leaning into self-love. It's really self-honoring, you
Mm,
know, noticing the importance of your joy and giving it value. And I really see this link building for me the more I honor myself and listen to what's important and safeguard some time for it. And it doesn't need to be long time, but I feel that it then builds my self trust, it
mm,
builds my self worth. Because I'm not abandoning myself, I'm choosing me, but in that resilience building and that self honoring, I'm able to contribute more. It doesn't
mhm,
take me away from this piece around productivity. If someone's thinking, well, I haven't got time for that, it's actually nurturing us such that we can come to our lives more powerfully
hmm.
with,
That is beautiful.
yeah,
Oh my goodness. And I love how you said, if you value it, then you'll prioritize it, right? If you value it, if you actually value experiencing joy, why not invest in it and cultivate more of it? And it was beautiful to me too how you said, no, that's what's self honoring about it. I hadn't ever considered that before, that not allowing myself to experience joy was actually devaluing self, because it's not self nurturing to mute that, but to nourish yourself with joy is self honoring. That was just beautifully said. Thank you for
yeah.
that.
And anything that isn't self-honoring is in the direction of self-abandonment.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
So
I
true.
mean, what a world if we had
Hmm.
more people stepping into their fullest, their highest, their most joyful self. And we if we show up to life with more joy in our hearts, we send ripple effects of more peace and compassion and understanding. It's in the direction of creating better worlds, isn't it?
Hmm. So true. Yeah, and I think that with the idea of creating a better world, I want to lead into our third point that we wanted to talk about, which is kind of the correlation between joy and gratitude. And so, yeah, tell me a bit about how gratitude has shifted things for you. And I'm curious about how gratitude maybe also plays into your love list. Because when I kind of think of gratitudes as a love list as well.
Yes. And I hadn't thought about my love list as gratitudes, but actually, if you think about all the things that I mentioned on my list, it's moments where I come back to the present moment. And
Hmm.
in the present moment, there is a greater appreciation. And I think the sacred, the beauty, it's in everything, isn't it? And
Yeah.
we can't be in gratitude and appreciation and also be in anger or overwhelm.
Hmm.
It's not possible. When you are in gratitude, it is like a doorway to a higher level experience. It shifts our perspective. And even in difficult things like heartbreak or grief,
Mm.
we can find gratitude for the love that maybe existed, or also the learning, even if it's hard, that we are wiser as a result. And sometimes when things are raw, we might not
Mm.
see it immediately. But even in the most difficult of scenarios, we can find gratitude. And in the everyday, in the mundane, in
Mm.
the sweeping the leaves, or the looking up at the sun and feeling it on your face. Um, yeah. What about you?
I don't know if I can top what you said. That was beautiful.
I'm sure
No,
you can.
no, it is interesting for me to think about though, the things that do bring me joy, they also do create those feelings of gratitude where it's like, oh, I'm just so grateful that I can step outside and just feel the sun on my face. I'm so grateful that I can see the beautiful leaves. I'm so grateful for these friendships that I'm cultivating, for these kind of beautiful, deep, meaningful conversations, the things that the soul yearns for, that yeah, it brings me joy. And I think that they're very much correlated, that they bring me joy because they're things that I am just so grateful to have. And actually placing that value in, I'm going to intentionally express gratitude. And what's going to happen when you're expressing gratitude? You're going to be experiencing joy and you're going to be spreading joy. And I think that they're just so tightly bound that the more we cultivate one, the other can't help but come along.
Yes. And it's like then the snowball effect, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because there is momentum, and um we might forget
Mm.
because we all do, we get engrossed in something and other things appear urgent. But the more we're doing it as a practice and creating some more momentum and permission giving and leaning into our love lists,
Mhm.
then we catch ourselves quicker when we go off track. Just like I caught myself the other day when things were overwhelming. And don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
like I teach this stuff and I still get lost, and no doubt
Yeah.
you do, because
Mm.
we're all works in progress. But what I find is the more we lean into this and discover this for ourselves and go on this journey, that we're just quicker to spot when we go off track, get a little bit
Mhm.
more savvy to question the thinking that might have us do something different apart
Yeah.
from laugh at ourselves. So there's a elevated discernment, I think, that comes when we
Mm.
start the snowball of joy and gratitude, and even my like dancing in the evening when I'm enjoying that, I'm being grateful for the day. It's like the other
Mhm.
side of the coin.
Yeah. Well, and it has me thinking how much gratitude really can be a bridge towards joy. That if someone is in a place right now where they're having a really hard time even remembering what joy feels like, they're wondering, okay, well, I don't even know what brings me joy anymore. Then taking that time to think about, and what am I grateful for? I think can be such a beautiful bridge and connecting point to be able to access joy again, to just be thinking about, yeah, okay, what things am I grateful for in my day to day life? Can, yeah, shift that energy.
I love that. And also in saying that, it's the point about it not being in a doing, because some of the examples we've talked about could have us
Yeah.
thinking that joy is in the doing. But actually, it's found in that presence, the present moment awareness. And that's the thing that gratitude does, because it opens a window for us to experience awe and appreciation, which by its very nature, it gets us in with that now. Um, and yeah, that's what came up to me when you said, I thought, ah, yes, yeah, it's in the who we be. And if we can cultivate more of that gratitude, we can start to reconnect,
Mm.
if we haven't connected for a while, with
Yeah.
the part that we all have access. Everyone has access to this. It's not only for the few. We all, as our birthright, can. We just need to listen a bit.
Yeah, I love that differentiation of the doing versus the being. That yes, joy can be something that you do and actively cultivate, and It's an emotion that we can learn and become more familiar with and just be. Like, what would it look like to just be in joy, to embody joy? And you don't even have to do anything. I mean, we all know those people that just seem like walking sunshine. And it's like, how do they do that? And they're not even doing anything. They're just grocery shopping. But it's like, wow, they're amazing. And it's like, yeah, it's because they have become the embodiment of joy.
It's back to the temperament, isn't it? What you were
Mhm.
saying. And as you were saying about those individuals, they're like the sunshine. And now I don't know whether this is myth or not, but I read that sunflowers follow the sun. So, they move over the day, the sun, they're following the sun because the sun is what nourishes them. And they're putting their attention on the thing that helps them thrive. And I guess what we're pointing to here is inviting people to put their attention on this self-nourishing piece that is completely linked to our highest well-being and thriving. So yeah, like the sunflower, let's just put our attention on that which brings us more sun. And the clouds come by as well, but the sun hasn't disappeared. It's still
Mhm.
there. So there's still a knowing it will come back.
Oh,
And in the meantime, I'll just look after myself while I'm waiting for the clouds to, or the storm to pass.
yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. So I used to live in Kansas, which is known as the sunflower state. So that's 100% true. They do follow the sun.
That's
And
amazing. So it is true.
it is true, yeah. And I love that visual too of all these things are happening in the world, and I'm going to choose to focus on this. Like, it reinforces that visual helps to reinforce the idea of how much intention can impact us. And I was thinking too about, the clouds and the storms, and sometimes they come, and like you mentioned, we can learn from them. We can grow from them. Like, maybe that's exactly what's watering us. Even though it may be really uncomfortable in the moment, that even those hard things we can find joy and gratitude in them as we look for the lessons, as we appreciate that my grief is so deep because my love was so deep, and looking for those things, trying to find that silver lining.
Oh, that's so that is so beautifully put. Well, I can't say anything to top that. But because I think that feels like a beautiful place to kind of bookmark this beautiful conversation. And I have to say, I've had goosebumps pretty much through the whole conversation, which is my little sign to me
Mm.
that I'm doing the thing that feels most aligned and true and joyous. So I don't know whether anyone else gets that, but I think I rather like it. It's not the cold, it genuinely is. It's sort of like,
Yeah.
this is my soul's loving this. um
And I love that you're so in tune that your body even feels it has a reaction to it. I love that.
yeah.
That's beautiful.
So, MaryAnn, I feel that this is the first of many more conversations, but to kind of wrap this one up, for any of my listeners who want to find out more about you and your work, and yeah, say maybe a little bit about how they can find out more and get in touch with you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I also have a podcast. It's called Inner Work with MaryAnn Walker. And it's a podcast for the empaths, the highly sensitive people, and recovering people pleasers. And so I help people learn how to state boundaries, take up space, and just find more joy in their life. And so you can listen to my podcast, or you can find me on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook at maryannwalker.life. So come and find me there. And how can my audience connect with you?
Well, I have my own podcast. It's called This One Precious Life. And I talk about all things authenticity, well being, but really, it's very similar to you, coming to life and embracing this one precious life in a way that feels true, bolder, less stress, and more joy. I lean into a lot about self love and this self honoring and how we can thrive more in our lives. So that's This One Precious Life. And if any of your listeners want to join the Remembering, a free monthly women's circle I hold, it's called the Remembering because this piece around remembering to remember, being we're going to go off track. But when we come together and remember together our power, our voice, what's important. So yeah, if anyone fancies coming along to that, then I'm natalieking.net, my website. I'm sure it will be in your show notes, and at This One Precious Life on Instagram. But yes, I would love to meet any of your community that's curious to join me there. And on joy or anything else related to our conversation or beyond, is there any final words you wanted to share, MaryAnn?
I just honestly want to just express gratitude to you for just being here. You do have that light. You do have so much sunshine energy. And so I appreciate just everything that you're putting out into the world. I want to tell everybody, I will put all of her contact information in the show notes, but if you want to catch joy and just kind of be like surprised by a joyful moment, then make sure you're following Natalie on her Instagram, because that's just the energy that she puts out. But being intentional, I guess that's what I would sum up with is my hope is that we can all just be a little bit more intentional about finding joyful people to follow on social media, finding joyful songs that lift us up and help us to dance and to feel, but to be intentional about what's one thing that I could either start doing or stop doing that could help me to experience more joy in life. How about you? Do you have any final words?
Oh, well, equally to echo that I love following you on Instagram and your podcast. So, yes, for my listeners, please do check MaryAnn out. It's the kind of inspiring content that helps the world be a brighter, better place, and for us to step more into our power. And I think I want to reinforce what you've said about intention, because I think that really is the key. Because when we put this on our radar as important, I hope that people, after listening to this conversation, can see, it's a disservice to not go in
Mm.
the direction of my joy. We are here, we have one precious life. And part of that life is to experience and to know what brings us joy. It is such a worthy investment of your time. And not only that, that investment, which you might feel feels indulgent, I promise you is not, because you come to life, your joy filled life, in whichever degree you find you are able to be much more of service and to shine more like the sunflower. So,
Mm.
yeah, I have loved
Beautiful.
this conversation, and I hope
Me
the
too.
listeners have too.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. And yeah, don't let a lack of creating joy be one of your regrets at the end of life. You can choose into it today.
Beautiful.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Take care. Thank you. Bye.